Hello, my fourth graders. What we're going to be doing today is we are talking about perspective. So we kind of talked about perspective last week when we did our viewfinders, but this week what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a landscape. We're going to find our vanishing point and we're going to be using 1-point perspective. So these are the 3 words that I really want you guys to kind of focus on. You can do this in your sketchbook if you would like, or you can use one of the pieces of computer paper or free draw paper. You're going to need a pen and a ruler if you have one, or any sort of straight edge. I want you guys to please put your papers vertically so that your papers are up and down. The smaller part is at the top. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my vanishing point in the middle. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my ruler, I'm gonna make a straight line. So I'm gonna take my ruler here, I'm gonna move this over so you guys can see it a little better. And I'm just going to make a straight line. I'm going a little bit higher than my middle part because I'd rather see some more land. So this line right here is going to be my horizon line. It's where my land stops and my sky begins. It's kind of just like the edge of the land. So that's going to be my horizon line, and my vanishing point is basically the point where everything converges to. I'm going to put it right in the middle. Okay? So I put a point right there in the middle. Now, what I'm gonna do for 1-point perspective is everything that you draw, in order for it to look like it has perspective, it makes it look like it goes back into, it gives it some depth, it goes into something. Everything is gonna converge to this point. So I'm gonna create a road in the middle so that I have something that it converges to. So I'm going to take my ruler, and again, everything converges to that point. This is the vanishing point. It's where the road vanishes to. I'm going to take that and I'm going to make a line that just goes up here for the front. Okay? It didn't go all the way to the edge. It just goes down here somewhere. And even this is like a really wide road here. But that's okay. Now I have my road in the middle. I use my ruler to make my road. Now roads usually have lines that go down there. So again, I'm gonna use my ruler for this. I'm not gonna trust myself. I'm gonna use my ruler and I'm just gonna make a line right in the middle. So I know that my little bars are gonna go straight in there. Now, we've already learned this, but the further back things are, the smaller they are. The closer to the foreground they are, the bigger they are. So everything that we draw is going to be bigger in the foreground and smaller towards the background. So our parts of the road are going to be big down here, and then they're gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller. You can do whatever you'd like, but if you'd like to follow along and do it step by step, feel free to do what I'm doing here. But you guys can put whatever you want to back here. I'm gonna put mountains back here just to really highlight that this is my vanishing point. This is where my land ends and my sky begins. So I'm gonna draw the tops of some mountains just so that I can really highlight this is where this ends. And now I'm going to make some trees. So to make pine trees, basically you have to think about it as a shape rather than actually making a tree, because really it just looks like a bunch of triangles stacked on top of each other. Again, it's going to be smaller in the background, bigger in the foreground. So I'm going to start with my foreground trees. So I'm going to make a tree right here. I'm going to start, you guys can see, it looks like the top of a triangle. All right? Then I'm going to go up and down, up and down. Same thing on the other side, up and down, up and down. Now I have these 2 edges, and I'm just going to kind of just make some sharp lines, and then obviously the bottom. Okay? If you want to add a little bit more depth, you can add some little spikes that come out, but it is up to you. Again, these are going to be a lot bigger in the foreground. I'm going to draw even the top of a tree over here just to really show the illusion that this continues going. Okay, these are going to be bigger And then they're gonna start to get smaller as we go back. Okay, all the way to like these trees back here are gonna be so tiny. All the way back there. You see how tiny that tree is? All the way back there. Okay, so they're just going to keep on getting smaller and smaller the further back you go. And then they're gonna get bigger the closer up you go. And they do not have to be perfect, because as long as you're continually getting smaller as you go back, the illusion will be there and you'll be able to tell that it's a tree. All right. So now I have some mountains, I have some trees, and I have kind of made the illusion that they get bigger and smaller. I'm gonna go ahead and add a few clouds. Clouds can be stylized. What that means when you stylize a cloud is that it doesn't actually look like a cloud. So as you guys can look up in the sky and see clouds, they all look different. And most of the time, it doesn't have a sharp edge. But when you stylize it, which means you put it in a specific style, then you make your clouds and you make them up how you see them in your brain, not actually what's there. Because if we were actually to draw clouds that look like the clouds that we see, they would look like this. Barely able to see the edges, very wispy. But instead we can stylize it just like we stylized our trees, because trees don't actually look exactly like this, and our mountains, because mountains don't actually look exactly like that. So there's two ways that I would suggest to stylize clouds. Either the long loops, like this, or the flat line at the bottom and then loop at the top, okay? I'm gonna make mine like this, just because that's a little bit more my style. And again, you're gonna do the same thing and make them different sizes. So you're gonna have some that are smaller and some that are bigger, but not too many. All right, so now I think I'm ready to add some color. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. All right, enjoy, and I will show you my end product. Have a great time.